Now we're going to pan over to the right to the next set of buttons. We're going to look at the top row first, right up here. This is the row that decides, when I mentioned just before, which ME are you talking to with the keyers. I can hit this button here. Now that means that my keyer section over here to the left is talking to the half ME keyers. Go back to the red button, that means I'm talking to the full ME. Grass Valley refers to it as the program/preset ME, and that's where they get the P/P. Now if we just focus on this section of buttons, just below that, this delegates what your program preset groups are going to talk to. Right now you see the yellow section, which refers to the yellow buttons, has ME1. That is now set on the half ME. If I come over here and just press the P/P button, now that set of buttons controls the full ME. We'll go back here, and the same on this, the red, as we, if we remember the program preset bus down here, the red and the white buttons. Right now, the red set here says that the full ME is talking to the program preset bus. If I select this button, that means I'm talking to the half ME. We're going to go back and put that on the program preset bus. Just as a note, currently with this being a 1.5 system, the buttons in the center that are labeled ME2 and ME3 are not active at this time. We can add another ME to this system to make it a 2.5, and then that will one of these will become active at that time. In a later section, we'll actually see how that can be determined. Now we're going to talk about the buttons that are just next to the touch screen. The button in the upper left is a button you're going to hit a lot. You hit the home button, that sends the touch screen back to its home position. When you get lost in some of the menus, that's a real handy way to get out of it. Live mode, we'll see how that works a little later for EMEMs, and I like it particularly for DPMs. It works really well with the RAM recorder as well. But we'll talk about more specifically what that does in a later section. Menu lock is very handy when you're doing something on another part of the switcher. If menu lock is not lit and you hit a key in a particular part of the switcher, the menu will usually follow that key. If you're working on something where you want the touch screen to stay while you're working away from it, then menu lock is what you would like. If we just tilt down now to the user buttons, these are very easy to use. I like to use them particularly for the DPM effects, and I usually reserve one of them to get me in the right mode for EMEMs. We'll talk about that a little bit later in another section, but just know that you can use them for your convenience. There are 4 of them, and they do come in very handy. In the upper right of the control surface, the control panel, that we're going to talk about the joystick area. As you can imagine, this is primarily used for the DPM effects, and also in the keyers when you're positioning wipes, sizing them somewhat, and it can determine here what exactly you're controlling with it with the keys here. Here you see DPM. You can read it better when I turn it off. DPM, key wipe. You can lock any of the axes of the joystick with these buttons. You can talk to wipe 1 or wipe 2. you have a center button and a delegate lock button that I've never used, but maybe we'll find out what it does a little later. That's a pretty good overview of just the hard buttons on the control panel. That does it for this section. Our next section, we'll talk about what we do on the touch screen.